Okay, so I'm a former high school teacher, and I like to be kind of interactive. Do you mind if we're a little interactive tonight? So just sitting passively? Okay. Let me start out with a question. Who here has had a bad experience on a construction project? Show of hands? Okay. You're being shy. Most likely, if you've lived through a renovation or been involved in a construction project, truly, my kind of back-of-the-envelope sense of it is about 50% of construction projects turn sour at one point in time or another. Or there's any number of conflicts that arise and problems that come up. And so I've been doing this for 11 years, and in my experience, it really comes down to one issue. And I was going to bring my laptop, by the way, and kind of have a little bit of fun right now. I wanted to show you that clip from The Graduate. Remember that scene where Mrs. Robinson's husband brings Ben to the pool area and says, "Ben, one word." Remember what that one word was? Plastics. Okay. Well, I have my one word for 2009. A little slightly different. But my one word that I believe describes a lot of the problems, or that is to say, can solve a lot of our problems in construction, is the word integration. Okay? So what the heck do I mean by integration? Well, of course, first and foremost, it really means a team that comes together from the start of the project and works together from the beginning, during the design phase, and on through and to the end of the project. Now, that is in contrast to the conventional way that most construction projects are done. And so, this is my mission these days, to educate people about this, because there's reasons why we go down this path, or reasons why many people go down this conventional path of what in the professionals call the design, bid, build process. In other words, an owner has a project, they hire an architect. The architect works with the owner, they design a project, and maybe the engineer is involved in some level, but usually a construction company is not involved. Yes? Is that right? True? Correct? So then a set of architectural plans and specifications gets developed. It gets sent out to bid. So we got design and then the bid process. And there's usually general contractors that bid on the project. Maybe there's 3 general contractors. In this case, we had how many? 7? 7? We won. But anyways. So, a bunch of general contractors bid on the project. They give a bid, with different line item numbers, electrical, plumbing, whatever, right? And usually it's the lowest qualified bidder, supposedly, that gets the project, right? Now, that construction company that won the bid probably had 1 or 2 weeks to really look at the plans, okay? 1 or 2 weeks, folks, to understand the project, even of this level, quite frankly, is not enough. It takes quite some time to really, 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 really understand all the details of a project and how it's all going to come together. So 2 weeks is usually not enough time. But nonetheless, this is the way we usually do it. So a company gets selected, they start the project, and many times, the proverbial S hits the fan. And what starts happening? Well, gee, we didn't see that on the plans, we didn't bid that. Well, sorry, but but you bid it, and so that's the beginning of a conflict. Or maybe a subcontractor didn't pick up on something. Or what's very typical, especially for renovation projects, is that existing conditions in the building or in the space was not picked up. Okay? That's another kind of potential conflict that happens. It's rife with conflict and in this conventional process. And again, more often than not, now I've been doing most of my work in New York City, so everything in New York City is more contentious, it seems. But that being said, this is typical of most projects. So, and why do people do it? Why do people go down this path? Well, because there's a perception that you're going to save money. Why else would why else would you do it, right? You're going to save money, you're going to get that low bid or whatever, right? Okay, maybe sometimes that's true, but I'll tell you what, 9 times out of 10, if you don't end up losing money one way or the other through change orders or other sorts of things like that, almost always time is going to suffer. So, quite frankly, being honest about it, for this project, we had one kind of issue like that came up. This is an old building, we had some existing conditions that we found after we started demolishing the place, and that delayed the project. We should have been farther along now. Okay, so I've been educating Marty about this integrated process, and I think he will say now he understands the value of that much more now since we've been going down this road. So the point is, you know, this conventional process is really rolling the dice, and maybe it will work out best for you in the end. But I would bet that at least 50% of the time you will pay every bit as much, if not more, than the process I'm going to describe now. Now, should we talk together about it? Should I give a quick introduction, and let me just give a quick introduction to that, and then, which is the integrated design, build, and what I like to say, integrated design, build, and finance. Starting out together with the owner or the finance team, with the architect, engineer, and construction manager. So the main stakeholders start out together from early on in the design process. So a lot of these issues get worked out before you start working in the field. And moreover, the misconception is that if you go down that road and you bring in a construction company early, especially, you know, I would like to say if it's a green building project, you definitely want to bring in a company that knows green building. But you know, oh, you're going to spend more money. Well, in fact, you can still get a competitive bidding process done in this integrated fashion. It's just you have the trades, the plumbers, the electricians, HVAC, all these folks you can have multiple bidders in that way, and that's the most of what your price of the construction project is anyway. So it's a myth that you don't get competitive bidding by going through this integrated process. Now, to give you an indication of how this is catching on more and more, especially with green buildings, the American Institute of Architects now has codified this process, and they refer to it as the integrative project delivery. And this is in my bones what I've been seeing more and more as the enlightened way to build, the smart way, especially for green building projects. And now none other than the AIA themselves has recognized this and has codified this process. So that's the one thing, if I can leave you with anything, try to you know, think a little differently about your project, get the right people on board from the start, and I guarantee you'll have a much better experience at it.
Thanks, Rob. And just to speak more to what Rob was talking about integrated project delivery, I want to acknowledge all the people that are here that are part of the project team, right? So starting with Marty, without Marty we wouldn't be here, and they said the best projects are always because of the owner. Frank Lloyd Wright said that, I think, but I have to say the same thing. You know, without a good client, you know, you lose a lot of possibilities. And Marty really supports a lot of the things that we're doing here, and he's committed to it. And then with Step Ahead, Paul Miller and all the folks here in Morristown, the town administration, I think, is seriously considering sustainability and looking at all those things. And that really makes a big difference when people consider that. Marty's son Jesse's here running the store, and he's always, you know, asking us different ideas about what we're doing to make the project better and make it fit their needs here every day. Green Street, obviously, Rob, Rich Feldman, who is right here in the back. Rich heads up the New Jersey office, and Danny Dominguez, who had to pick up his son tonight, I guess. Danny couldn't be here, but Danny's here every day, you know, making sure that everything works out. And sustainable systems, Jerry Hazel is here. So one of the things that you do for LEED certification, and Jerry is right there in the back, he's with Sustainable Systems. We're doing commissioning for the project. So what that means is Antonio, who's from Perfection Contracting, designs the mechanical system and installs the air conditioning system, and then Jerry's kind of looking over Antonio's shoulder and saying, is everything the way we thought it was going to be? Is this all working right? It's really a quality control kind of thing, commissioning. And
no, I just want to say, commissioning also, it's a team effort. It's not that I'm necessarily looking over his shoulder. Antonio and I have been in constant contact with one another, kind of with Walter and Green Street working together. So the commissioning process is kind of a little microcosm of the LEED process, but for the energy consuming system.
And really, it's all integrated, and it all involves meetings over the course of the project, and you're kind of setting the standard for what the building performance is going to be in the very beginning. So instead of just waiting for the mechanical engineer or mechanical contractor to give you a design that meets code, you're saying in the beginning, I want to hit a 30% energy efficiency target.